It began with smoke, steel, and an idea that the world called madness. In the early 19th century, people believed that a machine running faster than a horse would suffocate its passengers. That speed beyond 30 kilometers per hour was impossible, even deadly. But a small group of dreamers refused to listen. They believed that iron could replace muscle, and steam could outmatch the wind. They built a machine that didn't just move, it changed civilization itself. In 1825, in the quiet English countryside, the world watched something it had never seen before. A trail of white steam rising above the Stockton and Darlington Railway. The locomotive, a strange beast of pistons and fire, slowly rumbled forward. Its name was Locomotion Number 1, and its creator, George Stephenson, was about to rewrite history. The world's first steam-powered passenger train. When the iron wheels began to turn, people gathered in disbelief. Some ran beside it, some laughed at it, and a few prayed it would not explode. But as the locomotion gathered speed, crossing the coal-rich hills of northern England, a new era began. For the first time in human history, distance was defeated. Towns that once took days to reach could now be visited in hours. The rhythm of the pistons became the heartbeat of the Industrial Revolution. Within a decade, railways spread like veins across the British Isles. Stephenson's next creation, the rocket, became the symbol of progress. In 1829, it won the Rainhill Trials, a competition that would define the future of rail travel. The rocket's yellow body gleamed under the sun as it roared down the track at an unbelievable 47 kilometers per hour. The crowd gasped. For them, it was not just speed, it was magic. But that magic came with a price. The early trains were noisy, smoky, and rough. Sparks flew from the chimney, cinders fell on passengers' clothes, and the smell of burning coal filled the air. Yet people lined up, eager to experience this miracle of motion. The railway age had begun, and soon it would conquer continents. Across the Atlantic, America watched with envy. Vast open lands demanded connection. The first U.S. steam locomotive, the best friend of Charleston, began service in 1830. It was small, primitive, and dangerously experimental. One day, the boiler exploded, injuring its crew, but the idea had taken hold. By the 1860s, the United States was laced with iron tracks. The Transcontinental Railroad united East and West, and for the first time, a journey that once took months by wagon could be made in days. Every nation wanted its own rails. France, Germany, India, Japan all joined the race. The British built railways across their empire, bringing the same iron veins to colonies thousands of miles away. In India, the first train ran from Bombay to Thane in 1853. Locomotives painted black and red puffed through tropical jungles, mountains, and deserts. The sound of their whistles echoed across the subcontinent, marking the beginning of a new age of connection and commerce. But the race for progress never stops. As the 19th century turned into the 20th, steam began to lose its crown. The world wanted cleaner, faster, smoother journeys. Engineers began to experiment with something radical, electricity. In 1879, Werner Siemens demonstrated the first electric train at a Berlin exhibition. It was small, more of an experiment than a revolution. But it proved one thing: trains didn't need smoke to move mountains. The idea took decades to mature. But by the 1920s, electric railways were spreading through Europe. They were faster, quieter, and more efficient. Cities like London, Paris, and New York built underground networks, subways that carried millions beneath the earth every day. Steam had powered the 1800s, but electricity would define the modern age.
By the mid-20th century, the world was ready for something even faster: something that could truly rival the speed of flight. And once again, the eyes of the world turned to Japan. It was 1964. The world's attention was on Tokyo, hosting its first-ever Olympic Games. Amid the celebration, Japan unveiled a machine that stunned the planet, the Shinkansen, or bullet train. Sleek, white, and aerodynamic, it sliced through the countryside at 210 kilometers per hour. For the first time, a train was not just transportation, it was futuristic art in motion. Passengers looked out of its massive windows as rice fields blurred into streaks of green and gold. The Shinkansen wasn't just a train, it was Japan's declaration that it had risen from the ashes of war and stepped into the future. While the West marveled, Japan kept improving. Newer Shinkansen models reached 270, 300, even 320 kilometers per hour. And unlike planes, they left on time every time. Their punctuality became legendary. Delays were measured in seconds, not minutes. It was a masterpiece of precision engineering. The rest of the world scrambled to catch up. France launched its own high-speed train, the TGV, in 1981. Its orange body streaked across the French countryside at over 300 kilometers per hour, breaking record after record. In 2007, a TGV test train reached a jaw-dropping 574 kilometers per hour, making it the fastest conventional train ever to run on rails. The sound was a roar of wind and steel, echoing across the fields like thunder. Meanwhile, Germany engineered its own revolution, the Trans-Rapid Maglev. Instead of wheels, it floated on a magnetic cushion, frictionless and silent. The concept sounded like science fiction. But in 2004, Shanghai built the world's first commercial maglev line. The Shanghai maglev could hit 431 kilometers per hour, connecting the city to its airport in just 7 minutes. Passengers barely felt the motion. It was as if they were gliding on air. And yet speed alone wasn't enough anymore. The 21st century demanded something more: sustainability, comfort, and luxury. Modern rail systems began blending high technology with artful design. Look at Japan's Shinkansen N700S. Its Supreme model glows like a blade of light at night, offering silent cabins, Wi-Fi, reclining seats, and earthquake-resistant systems that stop the train instantly when tremors are detected. In Europe, trains like the Swiss SBB Girono and the Italian Frecciarossa 1000 offer interiors that rival business-class jets: leather seating, gourmet meals, ambient lighting, panoramic windows, and speeds beyond 300 kilometers per hour. Every detail crafted not just for movement, but for experience. Then came China, determined to outpace them all. Within 2 decades, it built the largest high-speed rail network on Earth, over 45,000 kilometers of track, connecting megacities like Beijing, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. Its CR400 Fuxing trains cruise comfortably at 350 kilometers per hour. But the future is even faster. The experimental maglev prototypes from China now target 600 kilometers per hour, nearly half the speed of sound.
From steam and smoke to magnets and lightning, the train has become something beyond transportation. It's a symbol of human evolution, a bridge between history and tomorrow. Today's fastest train, Japan's L0 series maglev, achieved 603 kilometers per hour during testing. That's faster than a commercial jet during takeoff. Yet inside, passengers could sip coffee without a ripple. But it's not just about speed. The modern train represents humanity's effort to move smarter. Renewable energy now powers many rail networks. Regenerative braking systems return electricity to the grid. Entire train stations operate carbon-free. What once filled the skies with soot now hums quietly on clean energy. Luxury, too, has found its home on rails. Consider the 7 Stars in Japan, a train that redefines elegance. Only 14 suites, handcrafted interiors, private observation lounges, and Michelin-quality dining, all moving through Japan's most scenic landscapes. The ticket? Thousands of dollars. But the experience? Beyond priceless. In Europe, the Venice Simplon Orient Express carries the spirit of the Golden Age. Polished brass, walnut panels, crystal lamps, each cabin a tribute to 1920s glamour. You don't just travel on it, you travel back in time. The modern railway is not just an engineering story, it's a cultural one. It connects people, reshapes cities, and defines national pride. Every country has its symbol. The Shinkansen in Japan, the TGV in France, the ICE in Germany, the Fuxing in China, the Acela in the United States. Together, they form a global network of motion and ambition. But the question remains, what comes next? When trains already fly above the tracks, what's left to conquer? Engineers now dream of vacuum tubes, systems where trains travel in near-zero air resistance. Elon Musk called it the Hyperloop, a pod racing through a sealed tunnel at over 1,000 kilometers per hour. Companies around the world, from the US to India, are racing to make it real. If successful, it could shrink continents. London to Paris in 10 minutes. New York to Washington in 15. It sounds impossible, but so did steam power once upon a time. From the black smoke of locomotion number 1 to the silent hum of magnetic levitation, the story of the train is the story of human determination. Every era thought it had reached the limit, and every era was proven wrong. 2 centuries ago, a man named George Stephenson stood beside his invention as it hissed and sputtered to life. Nobody believed it would work. Today, somewhere in Japan, a passenger sits quietly on a levitating train, watching mountains blur like waves of light. The journey from then to now is not just about technology, it's about vision. Trains have carried coal, kings, soldiers, and dreams. They've witnessed wars and peace, love and loss, progress and destruction. But through it all, they kept moving forward, like humanity itself. Every whistle, every spark, every glowing rail beneath the night sky tells the same story. We were never meant to stand still. And perhaps one day, when the first Hyperloop pod breaks the sound barrier under the earth, someone will whisper the same words people once said in 1825. They laughed when it began, until it changed everything.